With more than 15 years managing multi-million-dollar enterprise technology projects, Eddie is an award-winning information technology expert, mentor, recognized speaker, and CEO at Uber Operations, a leading healthcare technology company. At Uber Operations, among other projects, Eddie works with the Association of Public Health Laboratories and CDC, National Health Information Exchange, AIMS platform, focusing on national secure data exchange. Eddie is a graduate from Loyola University with a degree in finance and computer science. He also has an MBA from the University of Miami. Eddie is PMP and CPHIMS certified, and he's also a professor of health informatics at the Florida and A&M University. Join me in welcoming Eddie.
Thank you, Tina. Some of you have heard me speak before. That guy again. All right. So my goal for the next 15 to 20 minutes, maybe a little less, is to go over progress. When I was creating these slides over the last few weeks, it was a little bit of a challenge because we've done so much over the last year. And one of the things that I did was I took last year's slides and I used that as a foundation and started checking off everything that we said we were going to do. Before we start, I want to thank Scott Becker, obviously, for the leadership that he provides, Tina for bailing us out every time we get in trouble, for Dari, Marty, to be here right now, Michelle, Vanessa, really many of you, including Stephanie, who pushes us to the next limit in R&D and things of that nature, and also many of the public health laboratory folks here like Grace and Suzanne and others that have really been supporters of APHL and the AIMS platform. I'm if you don't know already, I'm very passionate about this. And one of the most important things to me about the AIMS platform, and Desiree's mentioned it before we started, was we know 60%, 75% of the people in the audience. And it's really created a strong neighborhood or community. So we're going to use the analogy of a community, of a neighborhood, to explain the progress that we made really over the last year. And let's see here. So, green button. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about the neighborhood that we're at right now. So, for those that don't know, the nickname for Rhode Island is an ocean state. There are 5 counties, 14 state parks, really one of the most beautiful states I've been to in a long time. The population is a little bit over 1 million. Some of the more interesting things are that the Hall of Fame of tennis is here in Rhode Island. And polo was first played here. And also the circus was actually first in the U.S., first performed here. So amazing things about Rhode Island. A little bit about the AIMS platform. So numbers over the last year have increased dramatically. We're looking at over 25 million securely transported messages. I remember a good friend of ours and a member of the AIMS team, Franz DeVet, he called me up, or he actually texted me one morning, it was actually last year, and said, Eddie, we reached 1 million. And over the last 6 months, we're up to 25 million. So it's pretty incredible. In terms of log files, just so some of you know, security is of utmost importance for the AIMS platform, and we're averaging around, I think it's 26 daily security monitored log files, 26 million. And then we have tools that monitor those log files to look for changes and anomalies and algorithms and things of that nature. Now the neighborhood has grown. So right now we've got over 85, I think it's actually closer to 90 trading partners. These are public health laboratories, as Desiree mentioned, these are also public health agencies, and even some of our private partners. So before we go to the next slide, I want to open up a few questions to the audience. So there are critical things that a neighborhood or that a community needs to be successful. So can anyone just shout out something that a community or a neighborhood needs to be successful? Anyone? Communication?
Schools.
Schools, water. Security, very important. Police departments, very important.
Roads.
We need roads, infrastructure, electricity. We need utilities. We also need the communication was very important as well, newspapers, things like that. So now, those are important things that one needs for a neighbor. Now, it's a little bit thin here, we'll provide the slides, but you called it. So we've got infrastructure security, okay, we've got planning, training, education, bridges, interoperability, partnerships, public and private partnerships, and of course, communities. So let's talk a little bit about infrastructure. So infrastructure-wise, the Ames platform is on AWS, on Amazon Web Services, and it's been there for about 3.5 years. When we first started off, the main transport protocol was FMS. Over the last few years, we've been adding more and more options to allow jurisdictions, public health laboratories, and agencies to have that flexibility in the option to choose, and not have to just rely on one or depend on one. So we started off really with one road, okay, and it was, as Desiree mentioned, it was mainly for FLIP, and from the public health laboratories to the CDC, it was kind of one direction. And then we continued, and it kind of became a four-way stop. There was a project called the Pandemic Influenza Project in Texas and Florida, where there's actually bi-directional, as Desiree also alluded to, bi-directional data flowing back and forth. And this is a diagram that I've shown in the past, but this is where we are now, okay? The number of messages, the number of routing, the complexities, the organic growth is significant, and with that comes a significant amount of responsibilities and things that we must consider. This is one of my favorite slides where it alludes to the majority of the jurisdictions, actually all jurisdictions, whether they're PHLs or PHAs, are on the Ames platform. We have private partners that we work with, and we'll mention a few of those as well. And then we're engaged in several national projects like the Digital Bridge Initiative. And then, of course, our partners at the CDC, the program here is keep increasing, which is really, really exciting to see. So I'm going to talk about a few projects now, some of the things that we're involved in. So the ARLM project, the Ames platform has several roles. There is a group creating something called a lab web portal, which will create requisition forms for those regional labs plus. That is actually being hosted on the Ames platform, and it provides eTour capabilities. We also have the reporting portal, which is a really neat portal that allows for the secure upload and download of data, CSV files at the moment, but it will allow the CDC to be able to extract ARLM data based on different pathogens. So these are some of the screens. I wanted to make sure I showed you guys. This is real stuff. I mean, this is stuff that, as Dari's sitting there, stuff that's going live as we speak. There are folks actually working on this. So this is the reporting portal. Now, all of these apps that I'm going to talk about are behind the overall AmesPlatform.com portal. So we're talking about single sign-on, two-factor authentication, and you're able to move from different apps within the actual Ames portal, which is pretty neat. So here you have the reporting portal, a few user interfaces. The user would basically drag files. Everything here is audited. Every mouse click is audited. That's one of the reasons we have 20 million plus log files on a daily basis. One of the neat things about the Ames Platform portal that we've created is notifications. So if you are a Mark Monday, for example, and you're uploading 10 files a day for your PHL, you want to be notified when the CDC is actually able to download that data, for example. So Mark can receive an alert via SMS, can receive an alert via an email, or can actually receive an alert up on the top right up here. You get a little like pop-up, almost like in Gmail or Google. So something else has happened over the last year is the states are getting together, and I've used this example before. They're getting together on a conference call. It'll be a Washington with an Oregon and an Idaho. And they agree that they need to exchange data with each other. Specifically, this use case, EMR start. And usually one person will say, well, how are you going to get the data from you and how are you going to get the data from me? And what has happened is we've seen this organic growth. There's roughly 13 to 15 jurisdictions that are using the Ames platform to exchange data with each other. EMR is one use case. So the original excuse of FLIP allowed for us to connect to that jurisdiction, allow that jurisdiction to connect to Ames, and then once you're on the Ames platform, they've been able to exchange data with each other in a secure fashion, really with minimal work, which is really exciting. Something else that happened this year, and some of you may have heard of the STEVE project through NASA's, and so AIM's role in this is the hosting of the secure environment. So on average, STEVE data is around between 2 and 3 million files that are exchanged not only with NCHS at CDC, but also between jurisdictions via statistics data. And this is in production. There's a significant amount of usage, as mentioned, and AIM's role there is to provide that secure hosting environment. Someone mentioned security, the gentleman there in the fifth row. So the definition of security, the state of being free from danger or threat, pretty generic. Now, the AIMS team has a wonderful group. I wish they were here, but they're keeping things secure. A wonderful group of folks that, as Dari says, they like to say no first. And then you have to work with them and try to convince them to kind of meet somewhere in the middle. But these are experienced folks that have worked in, for example, for the Department of Defense, that have worked in major organizations, public health organizations as well, that are protecting the information. Now, naturally, you can't have a full room this size protecting all the information, so we rely on very, very advanced technology to analyze that data, to alert us of that data, to allow us to really be proactive when it comes to the security of this very critical information. So, being on AWS is FedRAMP, so there is some inheritance there. We are on the AIMS platform, as many of you know, is FISMA Moderate, and there are discussions about going FISMA High, which we're confident about doing. So it's in our list of things to potentially do. We actually just finished HIPAA training, yearly HIPAA training, which was pretty good. It's amazing how much you think you know until you go to training and you realize you don't know half the stuff you do. So these are some of the things that Bettina and Dari and staff have instilled in our AIMS platform. Basically, our responsibility to make sure that we're compliant and to make sure we are secure. This here is a dashboard of basically an idea of what the monitors show in the Network Operations Center to monitor all of those files. We use an alerting system called VictorOps, which is pretty interesting because you get a text message in the middle of the night because someone's trying to potentially break in, things of that nature. So it's really a 24/7 operation to assure that the trading partners and the data are secure. Planning. So planning, also called forethought, is the process of thinking about and organizing the activities required to achieve desired goals. So these are some of the things that APHL leadership, along with CDC, have been focusing on tremendously. You know, we've been around now for 9 years. We're getting to the point where there are some things that we also need to continue focusing on. Things like governance, sustainability, research and development, and the continuation of partnerships. These are topics that are high priority for APHL. As we sit here, as we talk about AIMS, these are things that are in progress today, really thinking of the future of this platform. So, as you all know, and as Bernadette alluded to, and so did Desiree, there's a significant amount of advantages of being in the cloud. Whether it's AWS or Microsoft Azure or Google platform. So speed and agility, elasticity, low cost of experimentation, and easily deployable solutions. Now that's all great. You know, that's actually usually the easy part, and usually the benefit that we inherit by being in the cloud. But one of the things that, you know, APHL has been really harping on and really making us focus on is the legal aspect, the business continuity, the security and compliance that I mentioned, and technical support. For many years, we had many pilots, test environments, and as I spoke to Dari about it last week, wow, we actually have things in production, which means we have to have folks, right, providing technical support, customer support. So we're kind of growing up here, which is really exciting, but there's a significant amount of effort in setting up that foundation to be able to pick up the phone, to be able to open up a Jira ticket or a Zendesk ticket, and to be able to perform that support that trading partners deserve. So this is the slide that I was alluding to earlier. So last year, it's a little bit of a review. So last year we said we were going to do certain things. And as you can see, the ones with the check marks have been accomplished. Now some of them have been accomplished more than others, but for example, the rebranding. AIMSplatform.com has been totally rebranded. We have continued a public and private collaboration. E-tour is happening, which is very exciting. Integration as a service and more intelligent messaging processing through several of our projects. A lot more automation, a lot more logic going into the data flow versus manual work as we used to do in the past. Customer support portal. So when you're in the APHL portal, you can actually open up a ticket. And when you sign in, you can actually see all the tickets that are associated with you, with your username, which is very useful. And electronic case reporting is a project that we're also getting involved in. So training is very important. So individually, we spend a significant amount of effort in training, whether it's CISSPs, whether it's MERT certifications. We've got technical assistance folks and other vendors like the JMCs, and the academic consultings that focus on making sure that the staff are the best of the best. And if there are any weaknesses, make sure you focus on the training and certification. That's something that we have really focused on over the last year. Now, let's talk about bridges or interoperability. I think this is I think it's called the Playboard, Scott, is it the Playboard Bridge, which is very beautiful. So the AIMS platform, in a way, is a bridge for connectivity. So one example is the U.S. Air Force and the Naval Research Lab. That's right. You're aware of that project where, the military said, FNMS, forget about it. Direct protocol, forget about it. We use our own thing. It's called SFTP. Great to work with, but it was really hard to even get on a go-to meeting with them because there was such tight security. But the young lady right here, three chairs for me, wanted her flu data. So we were able to work with the Navy and the Air Force to make sure that they were able to send their data using SFTP, and CDC was able to pull the AIMS platform using FitMS. Now, one of the things that we've been working on with guidance from folks like Stephanie and Kevin, part of the AMP project, is working with the CDC to have other ways that CDC professionals, epidemiologists can access data, whether it's data that's hosted on the cloud or whether it's data that they can actually download. This, as Desiree mentioned, is a work in progress, but the future looks bright in terms of the options, in terms of connectivity to the AIMS platform from the CDC. Partnerships. So we have a significant amount of partnerships that have been formed over the last year. Several large projects like the Quest National ELR project, also partnerships with PANEL, another significant ELR project, and more recently with the Digital Bridge. So this is a little bit of a nerdish slide, but this is a Quest National ELR project, okay? And so basically Quest has dozens of business units throughout the U.S. And the idea is that all of the ELR data would flow through the AIMS platform. And the way it's set up is they have one MLLP or VPN connection from their Quest headquarters to the AIMS platform. And all of their ELR data flows to the AIMS platform. And then our integration engines, based on channels and rules, will send the ELR to the appropriate jurisdiction. We are in production. There are recipients of the ELR using SFTP. Massachusetts is using web services. Mississippi is using direct. Florida is using AWS S3. And the idea is, not only are we helping Quest here, but we're also facilitating interoperability with the different jurisdictions. The Digital Bridge Project is a project of true collaboration, working closely with CSDE and CDC, and these are the other partners that are involved. Really working on a roadmap for electronic initial case reporting. We are knee-deep or neck-deep in working on the project. One of the things that we're working on is scalability. We actually also built a validator based on this. Two types of validators. One that a developer will go to the website and upload an EXCR and get feedback, and also what we call an inline validator, which will allow the message to be integrated with a validator that's part of the AIMS platform. Through this project, we're also looking at different trust networks like the Sequoia project, the Direct Trust Network, and things of that nature. Community. All right, we're almost done. So community. So one of the things that we're looking into is having or leveraging maybe like a knowledge base. Some of you may have heard of Confluence, so this is a screenshot of Confluence. right here. But really, a community is a small or large social unit, a group of people, who has something in common, such as norms, religion, values, or identity. So this is an article. Newspapers are very important, right? Websites are very important. This is an article from the Providence Journal, which is across the street, when Kennedy was elected. It was 1960. This is actually the website to the city of Providence. They just launched it on June 6th. The mayor just launched the website because he thought it was important for the members and the residents and the visitors of the city to have a view into the actual neighborhood or community. So this is our portal, okay, the Ames platform. You can get there by going to amesplatform.com. One of the things that we've really worked hard on is documentation. Making sure that if you get to the amesplatform.com and you have no idea what it is, you can actually download a very, very technical document, or you can download a one-pager, or you can download how to onboard on the Ames platform, and you can also download statistics. So if for those who are interested, please go out to amesplatform.com, and we'd love your feedback. So there's a significant amount of documentation on our new website. So these are the apps that are on the Ames platform, as mentioned. When you log on to the Ames platform, I just want to show you what the process is. As I mentioned, it's two-factor authentication. It is single sign-on. Once you're logged on and you have the right approvals, you can actually go from one app to the other if your jurisdiction or public health laboratory is using the app. So once you log on, as you can see, I'm a super user, I can actually see all the different apps that I'm allowed to see. I mean, we went from 0 apps last year to rabies, as was mentioned, to message tracker, reporting portal, and Steve 2.0. Here, as I mentioned, the notifications that a Mark London would set up. These are some tickets. So, I keep mentioning apps. Well, what are you talking about? All right, here we go. So, we've got several dashboards. We've got one that's called the Ames dashboard. The Ames dashboard, for those that are interested, is using the ELK stack, which is Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana. And what you're seeing here is message header information on data flow. So this is actually a snippet of Quest data that's flowing. So far, since the initiation of the project, there have been close to 2.2 million messages from Quest laboratories that have gone to different jurisdictions. And this dashboard does not contain PHI. This dashboard can be used by the technical support folks. This dashboard potentially can be used by public health laboratories, which are things we're considering, but this dashboard is actually in production today. Now we have another dashboard, which is called the message tracker. Now this one, the difference between this one and the other dashboard is this one contains PHI. So this has the capability of allowing a user to actually drill down into the HL7 message and confirm that what you sent got to the final destination, or you can confirm what you've received. This is being used by the Quest project, and it's going live a week from yesterday. And that's it for me. Thank you.